The evening rush at Bellini's was in full swing. The clinking of glasses and the hum of conversation filled the dimly lit restaurant as Lily hustled between tables. She'd been on her feet for nearly 10 hours now, but nobody would know it from the warm smile she offered each customer. At 32, she had mastered the art of hiding her exhaustion. "Table 7 needs more bread," called out Tony, the head server, as Lily passed by with a tray of dirty dishes. "On it," she replied, quickly, depositing the dishes in the kitchen before grabbing a fresh bread basket. Bellini's wasn't just any restaurant in downtown Chicago. With its crystal chandeliers, white tablecloths, and a magnificent grand piano in the corner, it attracted the city's elite. Business people closed deals here, politicians held quiet meetings, and the occasional celebrity dined in the private rooms at the back. For Lily, it meant good tips on most nights, which she desperately needed. Back in the kitchen, she paused for a moment to check her phone. 2 messages from Mrs. Chen, her neighbor who was watching the kids tonight. Tommy finished his homework. Zoe's still working on her science project. Both had dinner. All good. Lily smiled, feeling the familiar mixture of relief and guilt that had become part of her daily life. Since her husband's accident 3 years ago, she'd been raising their 2 children alone. The insurance money had helped initially, but medical bills and the cost of living in the city had quickly depleted their savings. Now double shifts at Bellini's paid the rent and kept food on the table. "Lily, VIPs just got seated in your section," Tony called out, poking his head through the kitchen doors. "Table 12. The owner says treat them like royalty." She nodded, quickly tucking her phone away and straightening her black uniform. VIPs meant potential big tips, but also demanding customers. She took a deep breath and pushed through the swinging doors. Table 12 was in the corner by the windows, offering a stunning view of the city lights. 4 people sat there, 3 men and 1 woman, all dressed in expensive suits that probably cost more than Lily's monthly rent. At the head of the table sat a man who stood out from the others. He wasn't necessarily more well-dressed, but there was something in the way the others leaned toward him when he spoke, the way the space around him seemed charged with importance. "Good evening," Lily said, approaching with professional warmth. "Welcome to Bellini's. My name is Lily, and I'll be taking care of you tonight." The man at the head of the table looked up. He was in his 50s with salt and pepper hair and sharp eyes that seemed to notice everything at once. His gaze lingered on Lily's face for just a second too long, making her wonder if she had something on her cheek. "We'll start with your best bottle of Barolo," he said, his voice carrying the confidence of someone used to giving orders. "And I heard your chef does an excellent carpaccio that's not on the menu." Lily nodded, impressed. The carpaccio was indeed a special item that Chef Paolo prepared only for those in the know. "Excellent choice, sir. The carpaccio is one of Chef's specialties. I'll bring that right out for you." As she turned to leave, she caught a glimpse of the man's name on a folder on the table. Richard Palmer. The name sounded vaguely familiar, but she couldn't place it. Back at the service station, Tony was waiting with wide eyes. "Do you know who that is?" he whispered urgently. Lily shook her head as she entered the wine order into the system. "Richard Palmer. The tech guy. Founded that music app everyone uses, Melody Mind. Worth billions, not millions." "What's he doing? In Chicago?" Now Lily remembered. Her son was always talking about Melody Mind, the app that was revolutionizing how people learned instruments. Tommy had been begging for the premium version for months. "Opening a new office downtown, I heard," continued Tony. "Boss says he's considering investing in some restaurants too. Could be checking out the competition." Lily's heart beat a little faster. If Palmer was scouting restaurants, that meant everyone would be watched closely tonight. One mistake could cost the owner a potential investor, which could mean trouble for all the staff. The next hour passed in a blur as Lily attended to Palmer's table with extra care. The carpaccio was a hit, followed by the restaurant's signature pasta dishes and a perfectly cooked ossobuco that the woman at the table declared, "The best I've ever had." Palmer himself said little during the meal, but Lily noticed his eyes taking in everything: the decor, the service, the reactions of other diners. As she cleared their dinner plates and presented the dessert menus, the restaurant's usual Friday night pianist arrived. An older gentleman named Victor who played soft classical music and jazz standards 3 nights a week. He settled at the piano and began a gentle rendition of Moonlight Sonata. Palmer's head turned toward the music, and for the first time that evening Lily saw his professional mask slip. Something like disappointment crossed his face. "Your regular pianist?" he asked as Lily placed a coffee in front of him. "Yes, sir. Victor plays every Friday, Saturday, and Tuesday." Palmer nodded, listening for another moment before turning back to his companions. They began discussing business matters, and Lily discreetly stepped away to give them privacy. The night continued, and as the hour grew late, the restaurant began to empty. Palmer's group showed no signs of leaving, now deep in conversation over after-dinner drinks. It was nearly midnight when they finally asked for the check. Lily brought it promptly, placing it in front of Palmer with a sincere, "Thank you for dining with us tonight." As she waited for him to process the payment, Victor finished his last piece and stood from the piano with a small bow to the remaining diners. He collected his sheet music and made his way toward the staff exit. Palmer watched him go, then suddenly turned to Lily. "The piano, do you play?" The question caught her off guard. Well, yes, I used to." "Used to?" His eyebrows raised slightly. Lily felt the weight of the day pressing down on her shoulders. It was late, her feet ached, and she still had closing duties to complete before she could go home to her children. The last thing she wanted was to discuss her past with a billionaire who was just making small talk. "I studied music in college," she said simply, hoping that would satisfy his curiosity. But Palmer was looking at her with renewed interest now. "What did you play?" "Classical piano mainly, but that was a long time ago." His companions were checking, their phones clearly ready to leave, but Palmer seemed suddenly in no hurry. "Play something," he said. It wasn't exactly a request. Lily blinked. "I'm sorry?" "Play something," he repeated, gesturing toward the now empty piano. "If you don't mind." The remaining staff and few lingering customers all turned to look. Lily felt her cheeks grow warm under the sudden attention. "Sir, I'm working, and it's been years since I'll clear it with your manager," Palmer interrupted, his tone making it clear he was used to getting his way. "Just one piece." Tony appeared at Lily's side, having overheard. "It's fine," he whispered. "Boss says whatever he wants." Trapped, Lily looked toward the piano. It had been so long, not since before Tommy was born. After dropping out of music school to help support her parents, she'd played occasionally at bars and small venues. Then marriage, children, her husband's accident. Somewhere along the way, music had become a luxury she couldn't afford, in terms of both time and emotion. "Just one piece," Palmer said again, softer this time. "Please." Something in his tone made her look at him more carefully. The commanding businessman was gone, replaced by someone who seemed genuinely curious. Against her better judgment, Lily found herself walking toward the piano. The restaurant had grown eerily quiet. The bartender had stopped mixing drinks, the kitchen staff had paused their cleanup, and every eye was on her as she sat down on the bench. The polished keys gleamed under the soft lighting. Lily placed her fingers on them gently, like greeting an old friend. She closed her eyes for a moment, trying to remember a piece, any piece, that her fingers might still know. Then, without really deciding, she began to play. The opening notes of Debussy's Clair de Lune filled the restaurant. Her fingers were stiff at first, finding their way back to a path they had once known by heart. She missed a few notes, fumbled a transition, but kept going. And then, something shifted. The years fell away and her hands remembered. The music flowed more naturally, her body swaying slightly with the gentle rhythm. She forgot about the restaurant, about Palmer, about the watching eyes. For those few minutes, she was just a musician, again speaking through the keys. When the final notes faded, Lily opened her eyes, suddenly aware again of where she was and what she had just done. The restaurant remained silent for a long moment. Then Palmer stood up. His face was unreadable as he walked toward the piano. The other diners and staff watched, just as confused as Lily about what was happening. "Where did you study?" he asked, quietly when he reached her. "Juilliard," she answered, the word feeling strange in her mouth after so long. "For 2 years, before I had to drop out." Palmer nodded slowly, as if confirming something to himself. Then he did something completely unexpected. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card, placing it on the piano in front of her. "Come to this address tomorrow at 10 a.m., he said. "I have a proposition for you." Before Lily could respond, he turned and walked back to his table, leaving her staring at the small white card and wondering what had just happened. Lily stared at the business card long after Richard Palmer and his group had left the restaurant. The elegant card simply read, "Richard Palmer, founder and CEO, Melody Mind," with an address in downtown Chicago and a phone number. "What just happened?" Tony asked, appearing beside her. "Did Richard Palmer just give you his card?" Lily nodded slowly, still trying to make sense of it herself. "He wants me to meet him tomorrow morning. Said he has a proposition for me." Tony's eyes widened. "Are you going?" "I don't know," Lily replied honestly. "I have the kids tomorrow. Mrs. Chen can only watch them until noon. I'll cover for you if you need to switch shifts," Tony offered immediately. "This could be huge, Lily. You don't say no to Richard Palmer." Back in the kitchen, the staff was buzzing with excitement. Word had spread quickly about what had happened. "I had no idea you could play like that," said May, one of the other waitresses. "You've been hiding some serious talent." Chef Paolo emerged from the kitchen, wiping his hands on his apron. "My mother always said music is the language of the soul. Tonight, we heard yours." He smiled warmly. "Whatever that man offers you, consider it carefully." By the time Lily finished her closing duties, it was nearly 2 a.m. Her mind raced as she rode the night bus home, the business card tucked safely in her wallet. What kind of proposition did Palmer have in mind? Was it something to do with his app? And more importantly, could she actually take it seriously? The apartment was quiet when she let herself in. Mrs. Chen had fallen asleep on the couch, the TV playing softly in the background. Lily gently woke her and thanked her for staying. "So late?" "No problem," the older woman yawned. "The children were angels. Tommy is very excited about his music lesson tomorrow." Lily winced slightly. Tommy's keyboard lessons, another expense she struggled to justify but couldn't bear to take away from him. Her son had shown a natural aptitude for music, just like she had at his age. After Mrs. Chen left, Lily checked on her children. Zoe, at 9, was sprawled across her bed, science project materials still scattered on her desk. Tommy, 7, was curled up with his favorite stuffed dinosaur, his small keyboard propped against the wall nearby. Lily gently tucked the blankets around each of them, her heart full despite her exhaustion. They were the reason she kept going, the reason she had put aside her own dreams, and they were worth it. But as she finally crawled into her own bed, Palmer's words echoed in her mind. "Come to this address tomorrow at 10 a.m. I have a proposition for you." Could she really walk into the offices of one of the richest men in the country and hear him out? What would he think when he saw her in daylight? Not a talented musician, but an exhausted single mother barely making ends meet? Sleep came fitfully and morning arrived too soon. After getting the kids ready and dropping them off with Mrs. Chen, Lily found herself standing outside a gleaming skyscraper in the business district, Palmer's card clutched in her hand. "I must be crazy," she muttered to herself as she pushed through the revolving doors into a marble lobby that screamed money and power. At the reception desk, a polished young man looked up with a practiced smile. "Good morning. How can I help you?" "I'm here to see Richard Palmer," Lily said, feeling immediately out of place in her simple blouse and jeans. "My name is Lily Chen. I believe he's expecting me." The receptionist's eyebrows rose slightly, but he checked his computer. "Yes, Ms. Chen, Mr. Palmer is expecting you." He handed her a visitor's badge. "Take the express elevator to the 47th floor. His assistant will meet you there." The elevator ride gave Lily a few moments to collect herself. She'd pulled her hair into a neat bun and applied light makeup, But nothing could disguise the dark circles under her eyes from years of working late nights and early mornings. She straightened her shoulders. Whatever Palmer wanted, she would hear him out with dignity. The elevator doors opened to reveal a stunning office space. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of Chicago, and the open concept design was filled with sleek furniture and state-of-the-art technology. Young professionals moved purposefully through the space, all looking impossibly put together and confident. A woman in a crisp suit approached with a smile. "Ms. Chen? I'm Natalie, Mr. Palmer's executive assistant. He's waiting for you in the conference room. Can I get you anything? Water? Coffee?" "Water would be nice, thank you," Lily replied, following Natalie through the office. Employees glanced up curiously as they passed. Did they know why she was here? Had Palmer told people about the waitress who played piano? The conference room was smaller than she expected, with a round table and comfortable chairs. Richard Palmer stood looking out the window, his back to the door. He turned when Natalie announced Lily's arrival. "Ms. Chen, thank you for coming," he said, gesturing to a chair. His manner was different today, more formal, less commanding than he had been in the restaurant. "Please sit down." Natalie placed a glass of water in front of Lily and quietly left, closing the door behind her. "I imagine you're wondering why I asked you here," Palmer began, taking a seat across from her. "The thought did cross my mind," Lily replied with a small smile. Palmer leaned forward. "Last night when you played, it brought back memories. My mother was a piano teacher. Not famous, just taught neighborhood kids in our living room. But she loved music more than anything." His voice softened. "She passed away when I was in college. Cancer." Lily hadn't expected this personal turn. "I'm sorry for your loss." He nodded. "Before she died, she made me promise to do something meaningful with my life, something that would bring beauty into the world." He gestured around him. "All this came later. Melody Mind started as a simple app to help people learn music without expensive lessons. Now we're the largest music education platform in the world." "My son uses your beginner keyboard program," Lily said. "He loves it." Something flickered across Palmer's face. Surprise, perhaps pleasure. "That's good to hear." He paused. "The reason I asked you here is because Melody Mind is expanding. We're launching a new division focused on discovering and supporting hidden musical talent." "And what does that have to do with me?" Lily asked, though she was beginning to suspect the answer. "You're exactly the kind of person we're looking for," Palmer said simply. "Someone with exceptional talent who, for whatever reason, hasn't had the opportunity to pursue it professionally." Lily felt a pang in her chest. "Mr. Palmer, I appreciate the thought, but my playing days are long behind me. What you heard last night was just muscle memory." "That wasn't just muscle memory," Palmer countered. "That was talent. Raw and a bit rusty maybe, but undeniable. You said you studied at Juilliard?" "For 2 years," Lily admitted. "My parents lost their business. I had to drop out to help support the family." Palmer nodded as if this confirmed something. "Life gets in the way of dreams sometimes. I understand that better than most." He pulled a tablet toward him and opened a document. "Here's what I'm proposing. Melody Mind will hire you as a consultant for our new talent program. 20 hours a week, flexible schedule. You'll help identify promising musicians and provide guidance based on your experience." Lily blinked. "But I'm a waitress. I haven't been part of the music world for years." "Which makes you perfect for this role," Palmer insisted. "You understand both sides, the talent and the struggle. Plus, you'll have access to our studio facilities to practice and, if you wish, record your own music." "And the pay?" Lily asked cautiously. Palmer named a figure that made her inhale sharply. It was more than double what she made at Bellini's, for half the hours. "This is very generous," she said finally. "But I have to ask, why me? You could hire actual music professionals." Palmer leaned back in his chair. "Do you know how I built Melody Mind into what it is today? By recognizing potential where others didn't look." He tapped his fingers on the table. "When I saw you last night, A waitress at an upscale restaurant who sits down at a piano and plays Debussy like she was born for it. I saw an opportunity, not just for you, but for what you represent. He stood up and walked to the window again. There are thousands of people like you out there, talented individuals who had to set aside their gifts because life demanded it. Our new program aims to find them, support them, and give them a platform. He turned back to face her. And I want you to help lead it. Lily sat in stunned silence. The offer was incredible, almost too good to be true. But there had to be a catch. I have 2 children, she said finally. They're my priority. As they should be, Palmer nodded. Like I said, the schedule is flexible. You can work around their needs. And if it doesn't work out, if I'm not what you're looking for, then we part ways, no hard feelings. Palmer sat down again. I'm not asking for a lifetime commitment, Lily. Just a chance to see if this could be a good fit for all of us. Lily took a deep breath. Part of her wanted to say yes immediately, to grab this unexpected lifeline. But the cautious part, the part that had been disappointed too many times, held her back. Can I have some time to think about it? She asked. Palmer smiled, and for the first time it reached his eyes. Of course, take the weekend, talk to your family. The position is yours if you want it. He handed her a folder. All the details are in here, including my personal contact information. Call me when you decide. As Lily stood to leave, Palmer added, And Lily, whatever you decide, thank you for playing last night. It reminded me why I started all this in the first place. The weekend passed in a blur for Lily. Between her regular shifts at Bellini's and taking care of the kids, she barely had time to think about Palmer's offer. But when the apartment finally grew quiet each night, she would open the folder he had given her and read through the details again. The position sounded almost too perfect: flexible hours, generous pay, and a chance to reconnect with music in a meaningful way. Yet doubt gnawed at her. What if she wasn't good enough? What if this was some kind of elaborate joke, or worse, something with hidden strings attached? Mom, are you listening? Tommy's voice pulled her from her thoughts during Sunday breakfast. Sorry, honey. What were you saying? Lily smiled, pushing the folder aside. I asked if you could help me practice my new song today. Teacher says I'm getting really good. His eyes shone with excitement as he munched on his cereal. Across the table, Zoe rolled her eyes fondly at her little brother. He played it for me like 20 times yesterday. It's actually not bad. Tommy beamed with pride. Mom used to play piano too, right? Before we were born? Lily nodded, her throat suddenly tight. A long time ago. Will you show me how you play? Tommy asked. Like you did at the restaurant? Ms. Chen told us everyone clapped super loud. News traveled fast in their building. Lily had mentioned the incident to Mrs. Chen briefly, not expecting it would become a topic of conversation with her children. Maybe someday, Lily said, gently redirecting the conversation. Finish your breakfast now. We're going to the park today, remember? Later, as the kids played on the swings, Lily sat on a bench and called her older sister Grace. If anyone could give her sensible advice, it was Grace. Let me get this straight, Grace said after Lily explained the situation. A billionaire heard you play piano at work, and now he wants to hire you for some talent program with double your current salary and half the hours. That's about it, Lily confirmed, watching Tommy chase Zoe around the playground. What do you think? Am I crazy for even considering it? Crazy? Lily, you'd be crazy not to take it, Grace exclaimed. This is the kind of opportunity people dream about. What's holding you back? Lily sighed. I don't know. Fear, maybe. It's been so long since I've done anything with music professionally. What if I can't deliver what he expects? Then you go back to waiting tables, Grace said practically. But at least you tried. And honey, remember what Mom always said about your playing? That you had a gift? Tears pricked at Lily's eyes. Their mother had passed away just after Zoe was born, but she had always been Lily's biggest supporter. I remember. She would want you to take this chance, Grace said softly. And think about what it could mean for the kids. Better hours, better pay. I know, Lily admitted. Tommy's already showing so much interest in music, and Zoe could use new supplies for her science projects. They talked a while longer, Grace offering practical advice about negotiating terms and making sure everything was in writing. By the time they hung up, Lily felt more confident. That night, after the kids were asleep, Lily dug out an old photo album. Tucked in the back was a program from her last recital at Juilliard before she had to drop out. Her fingers traced the name printed there. Lily Chen, performing Chopin's Ballade No. 1 in G minor. She remembered that day clearly. The nerves, the exhilaration, the feeling of the music flowing through her as if she were merely a conduit for something greater than herself. Where had that young woman gone? Was she still somewhere inside waiting for a chance to emerge again? Monday morning came with a decision. Lily called the number Palmer had provided and was put through to him immediately. "Mr. Palmer, it's Lily Chen, about the position." She took a deep breath. "I'd like to accept, but I have a few conditions." To her surprise, Palmer chuckled. "I'd be disappointed if you didn't." "What are they?" "I need to be home by 3 p.m. to meet my kids after school. I can't work weekends, and I'd like a 3-month trial period for both of us. If it's not working out, we can part ways, no hard feelings." "All reasonable," Palmer agreed. "Anything else?" Lily hesitated, then added, "I haven't played seriously in years. I'll need time to get back into shape, musically speaking." "Of course," Palmer said. "We'll provide whatever support you need. When can you start?" "I need to give notice at Bellini's. 2 weeks? Perfect. I'll have HR send over the paperwork today." As she hung up, Lily felt a strange mixture of terror and excitement. She was really doing this, stepping back into a world she thought she'd left behind forever. Telling her boss at Bellini's was easier than expected. He was disappointed to lose her, but genuinely happy about her opportunity. The other staff threw an impromptu celebration during her break, with Tony leading a toast to our very own piano prodigy. The next 2 weeks passed in a whirlwind of preparations. Lily explained to the children that she would be starting a new job, one that would let her be home when they got out of school. "Will you still be a waitress?" Zoe asked, looking concerned. "No, sweetie. I'll be working with musicians and helping them develop their talents." Tommy's eyes widened. "Like a music teacher?" "Something like that," Lily smiled. "Is it because you played the piano for that rich man?" Tommy persisted. "Mrs. Chen said he gave you his card because you played so beautifully." Lily ruffled his hair. "That did have something to do with it. And speaking of piano..." She hesitated, then decided to take the plunge. "How would you two feel if I started playing again? Not just helping with your lessons, Tommy, but really playing for myself?" "That would be awesome." Tommy bounced on the couch. Even Zoe, who usually pretended to be too grown up for enthusiasm, looked intrigued. "Could we hear you play? Like, the hard stuff?" Zoe asked. "I'm pretty rusty," Lily admitted. "But yes, eventually. I'd like that." The day before she was to start at Melody Mind, a delivery arrived at their apartment. A digital piano, far nicer than anything Lily could have afforded, with a note from Palmer, "To help you prepare. We're looking forward to having you join the team." That night, after the kids were asleep, Lily sat down at the piano. Her fingers hovered over the keys for a long moment before she began to play. She started with simple scales, wincing at her stiffness, but gradually moved to more complex pieces. By the time she attempted a Chopin nocturne, her hands were aching, but something inside her felt awake for the first time in years. Her first day at Melody Mind began with a tour of the facilities. The 47th floor housed not only offices but also several state-of-the-art recording studios and practice rooms. "This will be your office," Natalie, Palmer's assistant, showed her to a comfortable space with a desk, computer, and, to her surprise, a baby grand piano by the window. "I don't understand," Lily said, running her hand lightly over the gleaming surface of the piano. "What exactly will I be doing here?" Mr. Palmer will explain everything. Natalie smiled. He's waiting for you in Studio A. Lily found Palmer talking with a group of young professionals. He waved her over as soon as he spotted her. Everyone, this is Lily Chen, our newest team member, he announced. Lily, meet the talent discovery team. 6 friendly faces greeted her. Palmer introduced them one by one. A music producer, 2 talent scouts, a marketing specialist, a contract lawyer, and a music therapist. We're building something special here, Palmer explained as they all sat down. Melody Mind has helped millions. Learn to play instruments, but now we want to go further, finding and supporting exceptional talents who might otherwise go undiscovered. He gestured toward Lily. Lily is joining us as our talent consultant. She'll help evaluate potential artists and provide mentorship based on her own experience. One of the talent scouts, a woman named Dana, smiled at Lily. Richard told us about finding you at Bellini's. Said it was like discovering a diamond in a coal mine. Lily felt her cheeks warm. I think he's exaggerating my abilities. I never exaggerate about talent, Palmer said firmly. In fact, I'd like you all to hear what I heard. He turned to Lily. Would you mind playing something for the team, so they understand why you're here? Panic flashed through Lily. She wasn't prepared for this. I've barely practiced in years. I'm not ready to just play whatever comes to mind, Palmer encouraged. This isn't an audition, it's an introduction. The team was watching her expectantly. Lily took a deep breath and moved to the grand piano in the corner of the studio. As she sat down, she felt the same nervousness she'd experienced at Bellini's, but also something else, a faint echo of the confidence she'd once had as a student. She chose Debussy again, but a different piece this time, Reverie. Her fingers found the keys, and though there were mistakes and hesitations, the essence of the music came through. When she finished, the small audience applauded warmly. That's why she's here, Palmer said simply. Lily understands both the music and the journey. She'll help us find others like her, people with extraordinary gifts who just need the right opportunity. As the meeting continued, plans were discussed for talent searches in schools, community centers, and online platforms. Lily listened, gradually offering suggestions based on her own experience. By the end of the day, she felt a growing excitement about what they were building. Walking home that afternoon, in time to meet the kids from school as she'd insisted, Lily felt lighter than she had in years. The path ahead wasn't clear yet, and she still had doubts about her own abilities. But for the first time in a long time, she allowed herself to hope that maybe, just maybe, second chances were real. 3 months flew by faster than Lily could have imagined. Her work at Melody Mind quickly became more than just a job. It was a rediscovery of a world she had once loved and left behind. The talent program was gaining momentum. They had already identified several promising musicians through school visits and online submissions. Lily found herself genuinely excited about each new discovery, especially the young people whose circumstances reminded her of her own. You have a gift for this, Dana told her one afternoon as they reviewed audition videos. You see potential where others might miss it. Lily smiled, thinking of a shy 12-year-old violinist they'd met at a community center in a struggling neighborhood the week before. The girl had played on a battered instrument with a missing string, yet had produced music of heartbreaking beauty. Sometimes the most extraordinary talent comes from the most ordinary places, Lily replied. Like a waitress at an Italian restaurant. Dana laughed. I still can't believe Richard found you that way. It's like something out of a movie. At home, changes were happening too. With her increased salary and better hours, Lily had been able to move the family to a slightly larger apartment closer to the children's school. Tommy was thriving with his piano lessons, now using the digital piano Palmer had given them. Even Zoe, who had always been more interested in science than arts, had started asking Lily to teach her some basics. Most significantly, Lily herself was playing again, really playing. Every morning before the kids woke up, she practiced for an hour. Her fingers were regaining their old dexterity, and pieces that had seemed impossible 3 months ago were now coming back to her. The office piano became her refuge during lunch, breaks, and occasionally, colleagues would gather outside her door to listen. The only cloud on the horizon was Palmer himself. After setting up the program and bringing Lily on board, he had become increasingly absent, traveling for business and leaving the team to implement his vision. Lily had seen him only a handful of times since her first day, and each time he seemed distracted, preoccupied with other aspects of his expanding empire. "Is everything okay with the program?" Lily finally asked Natalie during the 4th month. "Mr. Palmer doesn't seem very involved anymore." Natalie hesitated. "Richard is complicated. He gets excited about new projects, pours his energy into launching them, then moves on to the next thing, but don't worry, he's still fully committed to funding the program." The explanation made sense, but Lily couldn't help feeling disappointed. Palmer had seemed so personally invested in the beginning, particularly in her own musical journey. Now it felt like she was just another business initiative he had started and delegated. Then came the announcement that changed everything. Melody Mind was planning a major charity gala to raise funds for music education in underserved communities. The event would showcase the talent program and feature performances by some of the musicians they had discovered. "We want you to perform too," Donna told Lily during a team meeting. As the face of the program, Lily nearly choked on her coffee. "Me? Perform? In front of an audience of wealthy donors and music industry people? Absolutely not." "It makes perfect sense," interjected Miguel, the music producer. "You're literally the inspiration for this whole thing. Your story is what makes this program special." "I haven't performed publicly in over a decade," Lily protested. "I'm nowhere near ready for something like that." "You have 6 weeks to prepare," Dana said gently. "And you're better than you think. We've all heard you play when you think no one's listening." The team's encouragement was touching but did little to calm Lily's rising panic. That evening she called Grace, who responded with characteristic directness. "Of course you're terrified, anyone would be, but you're going to do it anyway." "Why would I put myself through that?" Lily asked, pacing her living room after the kids were in bed. "Because you used to dream of playing on stages a lot bigger than a charity gala," Grace reminded her. "Because your kids should see their mom embracing her talent instead of hiding, and because you'd regret it forever if you didn't try." Deep down, Lily knew her sister was right. The next day, she asked for a meeting with the team and agreed to perform, with conditions. "I'll need access to the practice rooms after hours sometimes, and I want honest feedback on my progress." Miguel grinned. "I'm happy to be your coach. We'll start tomorrow." The following weeks were some of the most challenging and rewarding of Lily's life. She chose to perform Chopin's Ballad No. 1, the same piece she had played at her final Juilliard recital. During the day, she fulfilled her regular duties with the talent program. Evenings were split between family time and practice sessions. Some nights, when the children were with Mrs. Chen, she stayed at the office until midnight, working through difficult passages again and again. Tommy and Zoe became her biggest cheerleaders. They insisted on hearing her progress each weekend and offered endearingly honest critiques. "That part in the middle sounds kind of messy," Tommy observed one Sunday. "But the ending gives me goosebumps." 4 weeks before the gala, Palmer unexpectedly appeared in the doorway of the practice room while Lily was working. "Don't stop on my account," he said, taking a seat in the corner. "I've been hearing good things about your progress." Lily, startled by his presence, fumbled through the section she'd been practicing. Embarrassed, she stopped playing. "Sorry, that was terrible." "It wasn't," Palmer said simply. "But you're holding back. You're playing the notes perfectly, but you're afraid to really feel the music." His observation hit uncomfortably close to home. "It's been a long time since I performed for anyone who really understands music." Palmer nodded. "You're afraid of being judged. I get that. But the greatest musicians don't play for the critics or even the audience. They play for themselves, because they have no choice but to express what's inside them." He stood and moved toward the door. "By the way, I've invited some special guests to the gala, people who might be interested in supporting your career beyond Melody Mind." Before Lily could ask what he meant, Palmer was gone, leaving her with more questions than answers. The next few weeks passed in a blur of preparation. The team worked tirelessly to organize the gala while continuing their regular talent discovery work. Lily divided her time between her job responsibilities and practicing for her performance. As the event drew nearer, her nerves intensified, but so did her determination. The night of the gala arrived with a flurry of activity. The venue, a historic concert hall in downtown Chicago, was transformed with elegant decorations. Young musicians from the program arrived in their finest clothes, eyes wide with excitement at performing in such a prestigious space. Backstage, Lily peeked through the curtains at the gathering crowd. The hall was filling with wealthy donors, music industry executives, and other VIPs. She spotted Palmer in deep conversation with a distinguished older man she didn't recognize. 5 minutes until we start, Dana announced, checking her clipboard. Everyone ready? The young performers nodded nervously. Lily, in a simple black evening gown borrowed from Grace, felt her heart pounding. She was scheduled to perform last, after all the young talents had been showcased. Palmer opened the event with a speech about the importance of music education and the mission of their talent program. Music has the power to transform lives, he said. Sometimes it finds us in the most unexpected places, like an Italian restaurant on a Friday night. The audience chuckled, unaware he was referring to a specific incident. Palmer continued. Tonight you'll hear from extraordinary young musicians we've discovered through this program. But first I want to share a story with you. To Lily's surprise, Palmer began telling the audience about that night at Bellini's, how he had recognized something special in a waitress who reluctantly sat down at the piano. What you witnessed in that moment is what this program is all about, Palmer concluded. Hidden talent deserving of recognition and support. Now please welcome our first performer. One by one, the young musicians took the stage. A 14-year-old cellist from the South Side, a pair of twin sisters who sang in perfect harmony, the shy violinist from the community center now playing on a proper instrument provided by the program. Each performance was met with enthusiastic applause. Backstage, Lily felt a strange calm settling over her. Watching these young people share their gifts reminded her of why she had fallen in love with music in the first place. Not for applause or recognition, but for the pure joy of expression. And now, Palmer's voice rang out over the sound system. It is my great pleasure to introduce the woman who inspired this entire program. A brilliant pianist whose journey from Juilliard to waiting tables and back to music embodies everything we stand for. Please welcome Lily Chen. The audience applauded as Lily walked onto the stage. The lights were bright, making it difficult to see individual faces. She sat at the grand piano, adjusted the bench, and took a deep breath. For a moment, doubt threatened to overwhelm her. Then she spotted two small figures in the front row, Tommy and Zoe, dressed in their best clothes, beaming up at her with unrestrained pride. Mrs. Chen sat beside them, with Grace on the other side. They had come to support her, to witness this moment of returning to her true self. Lily placed her fingers on the keys and began to play. The opening notes of Chopin's ballade filled the hall. Contemplative, questioning, like the beginning of a story. As the piece progressed, building in complexity and emotion, Lily felt something unexpected happening. The years of struggle, sacrifice, and hidden dreams poured through her fingers into the music. She was no longer thinking about technique or watching for mistakes. She was simply playing from her heart, telling her story through Chopin's notes. When she reached the thundering finale, her fingers flew across the keys with a freedom and passion that surprised even her. The final chord hung in the air for a breathless moment, before the audience erupted in applause. As Lily stood to take a bow, she saw that many people were on their feet. Her children were jumping up and down, clapping wildly. And in the center of the hall, Richard Palmer was smiling with unmistakable satisfaction, as if witnessing the fulfillment of a long-held vision. The applause seemed to go on forever. As Lily took a second bow, she caught sight of her children's beaming faces in the front row. Tommy was clapping so hard his little hands must have hurt, while Zoe, usually so concerned with appearing grown up, was jumping up and down without a hint of self-consciousness. The pride in their eyes brought tears to Lily's own. When she, finally left the stage, the young musicians from the program surrounded her backstage, offering congratulations and excited chatter. The shy violinist hugged her impulsively. "That was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard," the girl whispered. Before Lily could respond, Dana appeared, looking slightly frazzled but thrilled. "They're asking for an encore," she said. The audience won't stop applauding. Lily's eyes widened. "An encore? I didn't prepare anything else?" "Just play whatever comes to mind," Miguel suggested. "You've got this." Taking a deep breath, Lily returned to the stage where the applause redoubled. She sat at the piano again, thinking quickly. What could she play? Then inspiration struck. She began a piece she had been playing with Tommy during his lessons. Simple, lovely Schumann piece called Träumerei from Scenes from Childhood. It was much less technically demanding than the Chopin, but filled with tender emotion that seemed perfect for the moment. As the gentle, dreamlike melody filled the hall, Lily glanced toward her children. Tommy's face lit up with recognition. He knew this piece. She was playing it for him, for both her children, a musical thank you for their support and love. When she finished, the audience's response was just as enthusiastic as before. Palmer approached the stage with a bouquet of flowers and offered his hand to help her up for yet another bow. "That was extraordinary," he said quietly, for her ears only. "Even better than I imagined when I heard you that first night." The reception that followed was a whirlwind. Donors and music industry professionals lined up to meet Lily and the other performers. She posed for photos with the young musicians, accepted countless compliments, and tried her best to remember names and faces for future reference. An elegant older woman with silver hair took Lily's hand between both of hers. "My dear, that was remarkable. I was moved to tears." "When did you study at Juilliard?" "Many years ago," Lily replied. "I had to leave before completing my degree." "Such a shame," the woman said. "Though perhaps it led you on the path you were meant to take. I'm Catherine Winters, by the way. I serve on the board at the Chicago Symphony." Lily's eyes widened slightly at the name. Catherine Winters was a legendary patron of the arts in Chicago, known for her philanthropy and influence in the classical music world. "It's an honor to meet you, Mrs. Winters. Please call me Catherine." The woman smiled warmly. "Richard has told me all about you in this wonderful program. I wonder if you might be interested in performing at a small gathering I'm hosting next month. Nothing too formal, just friends who appreciate fine music." Before Lily could respond, she felt a tug at her dress. Tommy had managed to slip away from Grace and make his way to her side. "Mom, you were amazing," he exclaimed, oblivious to the important conversation he was interrupting. Catherine Winters looked down at Tommy with delight. "And who might this young man be?" "My son, Tommy," Lily said, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Tommy, this is Mrs. Winters. She's a very important supporter of music in Chicago." Tommy stuck out his hand with the earnest formality of a 7-year-old. "Nice to meet you. Did you like my mom's playing? She's been practicing really hard. Sometimes she gets up super early before school to play." Catherine laughed, charmed by his candor. "I thought your mother played beautifully. Do you play the piano too?" Tommy nodded eagerly. "Mom's teaching me. I know the piece she just played for the encore. It's called Dreaming. Träumerei," Lily gently corrected. "Well, perhaps you'll play for us someday too," Catherine said kindly, then turned back to Lily. "Think about my invitation, dear. No pressure. And bring your children. I have grandchildren about their age who would love to meet them." As Catherine moved away to speak with other guests, Palmer appeared at Lily's side. "I see you've met Catherine," he observed. "She's one of the special guests I mentioned. She invited me to play at some gathering," Lily said, still processing the surreal turn of events. Palmer nodded. "Catherine doesn't extend such invitations lightly. Her small gatherings are attended by some of the most influential people in the music world." He looked down at Tommy. "And how did you like your mom's performance, young man?" "It was awesome," Tommy enthused. "Everyone was clapping super loud." Palmer smiled. "Indeed they were. Your mother has a remarkable gift." He turned to Lily. The board members are thrilled with the gala's success. We've already received pledges for twice our fundraising goal. That's wonderful, Lily said sincerely. The program will be able to help so many more young musicians. Speaking of the program, Palmer continued, I'd like to discuss your role going forward, but not tonight. Tonight is for celebrating. As the evening wound down, Lily gathered her children, both fighting to stay awake despite the excitement. Grace offered to take them home so Lily could stay for the final meetings with donors, but Lily shook her head. They're part of this journey too, she said. We'll go home together. In the taxi ride home, with Tommy already asleep against her, Shoulder and Zoe struggling to keep her eyes open, Lily felt a profound sense of contentment. 6 months ago, she had been a waitress struggling to make ends meet, her musical dreams long abandoned. Now here she was, receiving invitations from arts patrons and helping discover the next generation of musicians. Mom? Zoe murmured sleepily. Are you going to be famous now? Lily laughed softly. No, sweetheart, I don't think so. But you could be, right? If you wanted? The question gave Lily pause. Could she? Was that even what she wanted anymore? I'm not sure, she answered honestly. Right now, I'm happy helping other musicians and playing for people who appreciate music. And most importantly, being your mom. Zoe seemed satisfied with that answer and drifted off to sleep. The following Monday, Lily returned to the Melody Mind offices to find her colleagues still buzzing with excitement over the gala's success. Dana had compiled a thick folder of press coverage, including several articles that specifically mentioned Lily's performance. The mysterious waitress turned pianist, one headline read. Another, hidden talent, shines at Melody Mind charity gala. You're a celebrity, Dana teased, dropping the folder on Lily's desk. Hardly, Lily laughed, but it is a bit overwhelming. Around noon, Natalie appeared at her office door. Richard would like to see you when you have a moment. Lily found Palmer in his office, gazing out at the Chicago skyline. He turned when she entered, gesturing for her to take a seat. First, let me say again how remarkable your performance was, he began. You exceeded everyone's expectations, including my own. Thank you, Lily said. It felt right, being at the piano again, sharing music with an audience. I'd forgotten how much I missed it, Palmer nodded. Which brings me to what I wanted to discuss. The talent program has been more successful than we anticipated, largely thanks to your contributions. The whole team has worked incredibly hard, Lily pointed out. Yes, but you've been its heart, Palmer insisted. Your story, your expertise, your genuine connection with the young musicians, it's made all the difference. He leaned forward. We're expanding the program nationally, opening satellite locations in 5 more cities next year. Lily's eyebrows rose. That's ambitious. It is, Palmer agreed. And I'd like you to take on a larger role. As the program's artistic director, you would oversee all the locations, help shape the curriculum, and, if you're willing, perform occasionally at major events. That sounds overwhelming, Lily admitted. It would mean more responsibility, but also more flexibility. You could work from home part of the time, and we'd arrange your travel around your children's schedule. He paused. And of course, the compensation would reflect the increased responsibilities. He named a figure that made Lily blink in surprise. It was more money than she had ever imagined earning. I'll need some time to think about it, she said finally. Palmer smiled. Of course. Take all the time you need. He stood up, indicating the meeting was over, but then added, There's something else you should consider. Catherine Winters called me this morning. She was very impressed with you. She mentioned a gathering. Yes, but there's more. Catherine is on the board of a foundation that provides scholarships for musicians to complete interrupted studies. Palmer's eyes met hers meaningfully. Like degrees at Juilliard that were abandoned due to financial hardship. Lily felt her heart skip a beat. Are you saying? I'm saying doors are opening, Lily. Not just for the young musicians we're discovering, but for you too. Whether it's returning to school, performing professionally, teaching, leading our program, or some combination, the choice is yours. That evening, as Lily helped Tommy with his piano practice, her mind kept returning to Palmer's words. The choice is yours. For so long, she had felt she had no choices, only obligations and necessities. The idea that she could shape her future, pursue her passion, and still take care of her family seemed almost too good to be true. "Mom, you're not listening," Tommy complained as he fumbled a passage for the third time. "Sorry, honey." Lily focused on her son's small hands on the keys. "Try again, but this time feel the music. Don't just play the notes." As Tommy started over, playing with more expression, Lily felt a surge of gratitude. The path ahead wasn't perfectly clear, but it was full of possibilities she had never dared to imagine. Whatever she decided, music would be part of her life again, not just as a distant memory or a what-if, but as a living, breathing reality. And it had all started with a millionaire pointing to a piano and a waitress finding the courage to sit down and play.